voice from the past. This game was the third game of the official World Chess Championship. It was played between Dr. Zukertort and Mr. Steinitz. The game was played on January 15th, 1886. On the next day, New York Daily published the below article.
Each with a game to his credit, Messrs. Steinitz and Zukertort yesterday resumed their contest for the chess championship of the world at Cartier's Hall, number 80 Fifth Avenue. Steinitz ambles in first, scattering smiles promiscuously on everybody in the hall and shaking hands with those who have the honor of his acquaintance. He is the happiest-looking man in the room, and but for the deeply furrowed time or care-scarred faces of most of the chess enthusiasts who crowd the hall, which show his serenity to the exceptional, one would think that there is something in chess playing which tends to preserve a youthful smoothness of face. Steinitz seems to be the only great chess player who can think hard over a game without wrinkling his brows. Zukertort's face is full of creases. He comes in a few minutes after his rival and walks to the little room where the game is to be played with a quick, nervous tread, hardly noticing anybody in the hall. Interest in the contest is evidently increasing. Most of the people who witnessed the first two games are in the hall, and their number is swelled by many newcomers. Old chess players, some of them famous a generation ago, scent the battle from afar and hurry to it. Most conspicuous of these is W.J.A. Fuller, with a venerable Darwin-like head. Paul Morphy used to find more pleasure in beating him than any other man. He is allowed within the room where the champions sit, and no one begrudges him the privilege. Mrs. Worrell, probably the best woman player in the country, who 2 years ago defeated Steinitz with the odds of a knight in her favor, braves the air of tobacco smoke and sits out the game. Others present are Eugene Delmar, J.M. Hannum, Philip Richardson, Leslie Bruce, Albert Merriam, Max Judd, and August Vorath. Veteran Frederick Perrin, who enjoys the distinction of having been often beaten by Morphy, is also an interested spectator. Zukertort seats himself opposite the white men. It is his turn to get first move, and as on Monday, he again selects the Queen's Gambit for his opening, and again Steinitz declines it. The preliminary moves are made rapidly, and until the fourth move on either side is reached, they are the same as those made in Monday's game. On the fourth move, Zukertort plays pawn to Queen's Rook's third, instead of, as in the previous game, knight to Queen's Bishop's third. The queens are brought out early, but the haughty dames do not advance far into the fray. Zukertort pushes his to Queen's Knight's third on the sixth move, and Steinitz replies by moving his to Queen's Bishop's second. On the 11th move, Steinitz castles on the king's side, and Zukertort does the same thing on this 13th move. Each is then where it is hardest for the enemy to get at him. Like skillful generals, neither neglects his own defenses. Not until the 14th move does the board begin to get cleared. Then pawns are exchanged and knights in the following move. That allows more room for maneuvering. Steinitz pushes the attack. For a long time, his objective point is the king's rook's pawn. Zukertort brings all his available pieces to the support of his threatened outpost. In vain. The little fellow is removed from the field on black's 31st move. One of the rules of the contest prohibits analyzing the games while it is in progress, but nearly everybody is figuring at it and talking about it. The buzz of conversation creates such a volume of sound that it disturbs the players, and even the amiable Steinitz looks appealingly at the spectators, while Zukertort, who is engaged on a knotty problem, frowns. "Silence, gentlemen," at length he exclaims in a tone more of command than entreaty. For the next 10 minutes, the people are as quiet as though at a funeral. Some of the comments are curious. "Steinitz will win," says one man with a somewhat horsey air. "He's got the best boiler. You must have a lot of steam to keep the thinking machinery going. That means plenty of stomach. Now little Zukertort hasn't got enough. The strain will break him up." To which novel opinion his friend, who doesn't believe much in analogies, replies curtly, Humbug. You want nerves and grit. They don't take up much room, and little Zukertort is full of both. It is evident that Zukertort's stock has risen. Miss Steinitz sells all she has of his photographs early in the day. Still, at a casual glance up to the time of adjournment, his game does not wear an encouraging aspect. His pieces are packed together like a Kennebec River ice gorge. They are in each other's way. Steinitz has 4 pieces within his lines, but the wiry little doctor, as he showed on Wednesday, has an eel-like capacity for wriggling out of a tight place. Some people remember this as they observe Steinitz's gleeful look as he passes out of the hall after the 6 o'clock adjournment. When the battle is renewed at 8 o'clock, Zukertort wriggles skillfully, extricates himself from his cramped position, and assumes the aggressive. Steinitz seems somewhat hampered by the time limit. When pushed hard, he needs more time than the rules of the game admit of to think out of his moves. Neither of the champions has anything like Paul Morphy's facility for making rapid calculations, so say some of the veterans who can boast of having felt that wizard's prowess. In the 40th move, Zukertort gives the first check and follows it with 2 successive checks. Steinitz is forced backward. Perhaps a Morphy might stem the onset, but Steinitz cannot. However, his chubby face gives no sign of the straits he is in, and when he says in an undertone, "I resign," he might, for aught the spectators could divine from his expression, be announcing mate, but they are not left a moment in doubt. "White resigns," shouts Mr. Patterson in tones heard all over the hall. There is a slight, almost involuntary outbreak of hand-clapping, but it is immediately checked. The game was finished at 9:25 o'clock. The victory sends Zukertort's stock above par. The courage of the man in selecting the same opening which resulted in his defeat on Monday excites much admiring comment. The score now stands: Zukertort 2 games won, Steinitz 1. The next game will be played on Monday at number 85th Avenue, beginning at 2 o'clock.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to subscribe and hit the like button. This will encourage me to proceed with creating the other videos for the rest of the tournament's matches. Thanks for watching.